I know when I write down things, I see them differently. And people go, it's, you know, some people just don't, I didn't want to take the time, but when you do, you see amazing changes in your life. The fourth one is that you need to act. And by acting, you take your problem, whether it's whatever it is, and you make small pieces of it. Because if you have something like a veteran's experience maybe in Afghanistan, and take that whole thing and you're going to try and resolve it, you'll never get there. It's too much for you to to figure out in one sitting, or maybe even hundreds of sittings. But taking a piece of it, maybe the hardest piece or maybe the easiest piece, and resolving that, and then looking for another piece and resolving that, is really, really important. And then this is something that we all need to do regardless, is to care for your own body. And by that, I mean, you've got to sleep, you've got to eat well, you've got to exercise, and you've got to rest. And when I say rest, it's rest your mind and your body. And it's almost meditation, really, because if you do truly rest, you will be much, much happier, much, much better for that. The men that I have interviewed, we sent out 2,000 letters to American POWs from the Great Escape prison camp, which the movie The Great Escape was based after. And a number of the men from the Great Escape camp, a number of the POWs were in there making sure that it was authentic. And do you remember, Hogan's Heroes? Well, that was based also on the prison camp. Now, this was a funny one, but a lot of the things that they did were real. I mean, very, very, very real. I want to show you, I've got to leave for just 1 second. I'll be right back. I've got to show you something, and I'll tell you another story that is, it's just incredible.
You know what I took out of this, Kathy, and I see you're laughing. We were just talking about resting on your mastermind last hour, in regards to Maggie, going to conference, and how do you take a break, and that how do you rest? And I think that it really is a big point that Val brings up, is we have to recognize within ourselves, and it's okay to take a break.
Yes. In fact, it's vital to take a break.
Yeah.
So this is a drawing by a fellow named David Howard, and he was a Canadian, but he was in the American, maybe he's an American and went into Canada, but he was a POW. And if you look, oh shoot, can I get it? Okay, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, see this is a hot rod vehicle, and this is inside the prison camp. And this German general came in one day, and he said, I want to talk to the highest ranking officer in the camp. And the commandant said, no, I don't think you want to do that. He said, no, I am going in with my vehicle, my brand new vehicle, and I'm going to talk to the highest ranking, who was a guy from Canada, or from England. So he goes in, and sees this man, and they're talking and talking and talking, and war and talking more and all of these things. And the Germans are such better makers of cars and equipment and all of that. Meanwhile, this is a true story. Meanwhile, the men are stealing off of this car. It's a brand new sports car, and they take the tires off, they take the steering wheel, but the most important thing they took was a briefcase on the passenger side, and they took it away. And he's mad. Oh, he is mad when he goes out and sees that, and he has to leave. And the commandant calls the commanding officer in, and he says, I don't care about the machine parts. I don't care about the car parts that you stole, but I want that suitcase. So he goes back, he calls his men and he says, "Come to me." And they, he pulls all the documents out, and every one he reads, well, he's got someone reading it because it's in German, gives it, but down at the bottom it says, you must sign it, your military rank, and then the kind of service you're in. So here is this colonel. No, I don't think I think it was higher than a colonel. He signs it with his name, he puts the date, and he puts, the Royal Air Force on every single document. And the general was never seen again. I mean, I don't know why I had to tell you that story, but it just, we sometimes think we're smarter than the rest, when in fact we need to kind of look around and maybe be a little bit more humble, I suppose. I love the song Humble and Kind, and I have that song as my daily song that I listen to because it helps me look at who I want to be and how I want to live my life. And if you, all of you, pick a song and listen to it daily, it's surprising what it does to making your life better.
I'm going to interject for a second. When I look back at the stories that you're telling, I am so attached. My grandmother was one of 13, and all of her brothers and her son were in World War II. And I think that was my connection to World War II, just when I was, growing up, and, combat and a lot of the television shows in the early 60s, late 50s. When I've met you, I know that you say that you concentrate on World War II stories.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had the opportunity to either start gathering stories from the other conflicts, or have you met people that you can mentor that maybe they can pick up the gauntlet where you're concentrating on World War II?
I have Vietnam veterans. I have some of those, and some of those oral histories. And, I wrote some articles. I did it for a book that was about Vietnam. Um, it was tough on them and it was tough on me, but I spent quite a bit of time with three of them. My uncle was a Vietnam vet, and I knew a number of Vietnam vets simply because I was close enough to that. I was there, I wasn't in Vietnam, obviously, but I wore a bracelet and, I was close to them. I've got some Korean veterans. None of them were POWs, but one of the gentlemen, I met him, and I met him at a meeting, and it was a reunion for the Korean veterans. He was also in World War II, and we were in a line to get lunch, and this man's in front of me, and the commanding officer of these kids who were feeling, these young military personnel, they were passing out the food. And he says, "Boys, I want you to look at that man and realize how important he is."